Hi, welcome to Bree's Science Lab. Today we're going to go over cranial nerves as well as where they go through the skull. All right, so here's our skull. I've taken the top off and so you can see the foramen, and I will point out where each nerve goes. But first, an introduction to cranial nerves if you haven't heard about them before or learned their names. There are 24 total nerves, cranial nerves, and that means 12 pairs. So there's 12 on each side, and we name them cranial nerves 1 through 12. However, they're usually used with Roman numerals. And now if you haven't been introduced to Roman numerals, it's really easy. Basically one line, so like this, is 1, 2 is 2, 3 is 3. Then 5 is a V. And so when you get to 4 or 6 or 1 above or below that big number, all right, you're going to have on the left 1 is negative and V is there. So V minus 1 equals 4, or 5 minus 1 equals 4. So you have the 1 on the left and then the V. Then you have V for 5. Now if you have a V and then a 1 on the right, that's V positive 1. So that's 6. V plus 1, or 5 plus 1 is 6. All right, this is V plus 2, so 7. V plus 3 equals 8. And then you have 10 is X. So negative 1 and X equals 9, or 10 minus 1 equals 9. X plus 1, or 10 plus 1 on the right, equals 11, and then 10 plus 2 equals 12. Now, here are their names. There are many mnemonics to memorize these. The one I've used is a little PG-13, so I'll let you guys look that one up on Google yourselves. But here are the names. We have olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trochlear, trigeminal, abducens, facial, vestibulocochlear, glossopharyngeal, vagus, accessory, and hypoglossal. All right? Now, trigeminal, I want you to look at the first part, tri. That means it's going to have 3 main branches, and the 3 main branches are going to be V1, all right? So V1, and that's going to be your ophthalmic, and then you're going to have V2, which is maxillary, and then you're going to have V3, which is mandibular, all right? So that one does actually have 3 branches, so, and that is a common thing that you're going to have to know on top of these 12. The next big thing is whether they are sensory or motor or both, okay? So easy mnemonic to memorize this is: some say money matters, but my brother says big brains matter more. Now, if it starts with an S, that means it's sensory. If it starts with an M, that means it's motor. And if it starts with a B, that means it's both. So if we go and look at trigeminal, that is both sensory and motor. Vagus, which is a really popular nerve, it's big in research right now, that's also both, all right? But accessory, that's just a motor nerve. And now if you already watched the back video, you'll know that your trapezius is actually innervated by the accessory nerve. So that'll help you memorize that it's motor. Okay, so now, where do they go through the skull? All right, so I'm going to set this kind of over here so you can still see the names, and we're going to go over the skull. All right, so let's see if I can zoom out for a little bit. All right, and I'm going to point it this way. All right, so here's our skull. Please watch the skull video first so you know which part these all are. Now, so starting up at the cribriform plate, all right, the cribriform plate, this is where our olfactory nerve is going to go through, all right, our olfactory nerve, because if you can see, it's going to go right to the nose here, all right, it's going to help with olfactory. So the name is right on the nose, quite literally. Then through the optic canal, you're going to have the optic nerve. Now, if we look right here, this is your optic canal, oops, and you can see it coming out right there. That's your optic canal. So that's where cranial nerve 2 goes through. Now, we have our superior orbital fissure right there, okay? Superior orbital fissure, if I go right here, oh, let's see if I can get my pen through there. There we go. Here we go, superior orbital fissure, so right next to that optic canal. Now, through the superior orbital fissure, you're going to have cranial nerve 3, so your oculomotor, all right? You're going to have your trochlear nerve, all right? So that's 4. Then you're going to have your abducens nerve, which is 6. You're also going to have 5, but only the first branch, so the ophthalmic nerve, so V1. So easy way to remember this is 3, 4, 5, 1, and 6, okay? Then going through your foramen rotundum, So foramen rotundum is right below that. It's very round. It's the first foramen right there in our skull video. And that one is the maxillary nerve, which is, if you remember, a branch of the trigeminal. So that's going to be the V2 branch. All right. So we had in the superior orbital fissure, we had V1 and then V2. And then if any guesses on where V3 is going to go. Foramen ovale, I hope is what you said, and that is where mandibular nerve goes. So that is your V3, all right? Then going through the internal acoustic meatus, so right here, going to where the ear is, all right, that is going to have your facial nerve, so cranial nerve 7, and your vestibulocochlear nerve, cranial nerve 8, okay? And vestibulocochlear, that one should be pretty easy to remember because cochlear, ear, vestibulo, balance, okay. Then going through your jugular foramen, so this one right here, jugular foramen, right? Let's flip it over so you can see from this way, right here. In the jugular foramen, you're gonna have your glossopharyngeal, your vagus nerve, and your accessory nerve, all right? So 9, 10, and 11. 9, 10, and 11. And then going through the hypoglossal canal right here, you have your hypoglossal nerve. That is the easiest one to remember. That is your cranial nerve 12, okay? So pretty easy to remember where they go through. So you're gonna have, you know, your olfactory going through to the nose, through the cribriform plate. You're going to have your optic nerve going through the optic canal. All right, the only ones that get a little funky is that superior orbital fissure, and then maybe your jugular foramen, just memorizing where. Oh, and the internal acoustic meatus can be a little confusing. But thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. Leave any questions or comments below.